All right, now I'm happy to have national security expert LEW NESCOTT here to break down the summit and the walkback of those remarks. Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you, sir.
Glad to have you here. Okay, yeah, before we start parsing his words as he did before, why don't you just give me the general reaction of how the intelligence community responded to what he first said and then the attempted, at least, retraction?
Well, I can't speak for the entire intelligence community.
Of course.
I can only speak for myself. Since 2010, the world in which I lived, information operations and intel, one of the things you count on, particularly when you're thousands of miles away from home, is that your work matters. The products, as we call them, that you build for diplomats and military commanders matter. Because the first customer, the primary customer, who's the President of the United States, is ultimately the one who could review it and sign off on it. So it matters. When the President of the United States effectively throws the U.S. intel community under the bus, as President Trump seemed to do at Monday's press conference in Helsinki, in front of the entire world, in front of one of our more dangerous adversaries, I found that to be, in a word, disheartening.
Yeah. Could this substantially affect how intelligence operatives share their information or even collect their information going forward?
Here's the good news and the not so good news. The good news is that you have dedicated women and men at all levels who will go about the business beyond party, beyond politics, focused solely on one thing and one thing only, and that is country.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a 4th of July speech, right? It's real. I've lived in that world. And that's how you have to think. It doesn't matter where you're from or the person where they're from, red state, blue state, liberal, conservative, Fox News, MSNBC. It doesn't matter. You focus on the mission in protecting your country. So that's the good news. The not so good news is at the higher levels. What, for example, do our senior diplomats and military commanders spread across the globe? What are they to say to their counterparts in meetings today? Particularly if those counterparts believe that your president, at very least, showed poor judgment and might have been, and I'm being diplomatic here, erratic or rash in his statement and characterization, publicly so, on a world stage of your intelligence community. So might our allies go to other allies and share information if they're seeking a desired outcome?
So the retraction doesn't pass the sniff test.
Listen. We're kind of in the same business. You're a journalist. I've lived in the intel world since 2010. What's important? Words matter. Context matters.
Talk to me about context.
Context. If you literally, as I did, if we go through his comments on Monday and his attempt to walk back in one word yesterday, Tuesday, literally, right after he made the slip, would instead of wouldn't, in the next breath, he says, but what about the servers? And then he begins to talk about concluding a sentence with how much confidence he has in both parties. Well, which parties? And what I'm struck with, as he continued through the press conference, is the strong and powerful denial of President Putin. It seems to me if it was a slip, those other references would not have been in his comments.
And the last thing, we're almost out of time. Right after he attempted to retract the comment, I keep saying attempted because he went on to say, well, could be a lot of other people too. That appears to directly contradict the intelligence community right in the next breath. Is that true?
Yes. Anytime you are not unequivocal in your support of American intelligence, yes, that's exactly how it could be construed. Footnote to all of this. If you have a problem with intelligence, as I suspect some presidents who are referred to as the primary customer of U.S. intel have been, you do your laundry in private. You don't do it on a world stage in front of one of your more dangerous adversaries and a former KGB agent, Vladimir Putin.
Okay, LEW NESCOTT, thank you so much for
Good to see you,
taking
sir.
the time. Yeah, it's been a while. Good to have you here.
Good to be back.
I should get you back.